All right, so we're going to get started again on the second follow-up video on this one, and this is mostly focused on the IM custom roles. We spoke earlier on, we discussed about the various roles you have in your GCP environment, and we went over adding roles here, and I showed you there are various sessions over here, but these are already being pre-packaged, right? You can customize this, however, and that's one of the first stuff I'm going to cover with you guys today. I'm going to go to my shell environment. Well, let me warn you ahead of time. This particular exercise is done mostly using the shell environment. However, everything that I'm doing with the shell environment, you can also do, I believe, through Google, through the GUI, even though it's more of a manual task, but with the shell environment, you can actually automate it. So let me quickly show you some of the command that I think is very important for us to get out of the way. If I type clear, it's going to clear my screen, the same thing that you will use in a Linux environment. If I type this command, I said, Google Cloud, auth list, and what it will do is essentially it will tell me the authenticated list of a user account. So you can see I'm logging onto this place as Emmanuel577 at Gmail. That's what it does for me, and it shows you my credential. That's the output. You can see to set this account, to set the active account run, I can go ahead and do this one, but I don't need to do that at least for now, because it's already set, at least for me, in this kind of environment. If I want to kind of list the project that I'm currently working on, I can show you it's already shown, and it's already showing you up here as well. However, I can switch to another project even within the shell environment, and that's something that you could do. Right now, we're not going to do that. However, that's an option, because sometimes I showed you guys how to click this Windows earlier on and switch to another. So if I come over here, I can select say Missouri, and it will open up another shell for me here, and you can see under Missouri here, and I have the previous shell that I have under CVF 1071. But if I don't want to open another shell, I can actually go to gcloud config and then set up another, point it to another shell environment, and that'll be just fine. So I'm going to close this one here so we can focus on this one. All right. Now, it's important for you to know what permission you can set on a resource and what roles is grantable to a resource, and of course what are the roles metadata. We're going to go over that just a couple of times from now. All right, so the first thing I'm going to type here, I'm going to type this command here, and I want to explain what this command does for you. This is just a gcloud IAM identity access management, and here I'm saying list testable permission. In other words, I want to see any permission that is available for this project. Okay, now look at what I did over here. I expressed / cloud resource manager, Google Apps, and calling the API here, go to project, and I put variables here. Okay, $ variable. In other words, this is going to automatically assume the project name, my current project name. Okay, I can remove this and just type the name of the project itself, or I can put a variable name over here and it's automatically going to grab it. Now you will see a lot of stuff going up the screen now. All right, this is just showing you all the possible permission available for this particular project, right? It's interesting, and remember that's exactly what I showed you up here when I went to add earlier on, and I was showing you a list of all those ones, only that in this kind of a situation it's listing everything for me in one single click. If you want to pass it into a text file, you can do that, but that would be unnecessary at this point. You can get your role metadata. Okay, if I want to do that, one of the things I'm going to do is I can come back over here and just say this. I'll show you this, and I come back over here. I have several roles that I can use. I showed you guys roles earlier on of a view, of editor and so on and so forth. So I can come back over and say roles slash, and depending on what I want, I can just say maybe viewer. All right. And if I type the role of a viewer, see, just show me all the list of what a viewer can do. So if you want to grant somebody an access to something, you can view the metadata of that particular role. Look at the role viewer, and I said description, read access to all resources. That's what a viewer does, right? And then include permissions. And they say access approval, they can get it, they can list it, they can do all that kind of stuff, access text manager and so on and so forth. These are the metadata for this particular role. All right. It's a good thing for you to look again when you're trying to do these manually. You might want to get yourself familiar a little bit with it. Again, you don't need to do it for everything, but just for the ones that you use quite a little bit often. Now, what we've just done over here is to getting raw metadata. Okay, so if I want to see, and these are the metadata for a role of a viewer. Now, what if I want to see what roles is even possible for a given resource? We'll do a very similar thing to what we did earlier on. You know, again, that's identical to what I just did the first time before I did this one. Was that I just show you a list of these, and you will see again similar things pin up all through your screen, right? So now let me go back and show you what I did show you guys earlier on are the permissions that I can grant, available permissions. Then I go to the next one, I show you the metadata of a role, and here I'm showing you available roles. Here, grantable roles, metadata of a given role, and available permissions. Of course, you know the permissions you're going to give to someone is going to be a function of the role you want to give them. You want to make sure that they have permissions that is appropriate for the roles that you're setting for them. All right. So now let's go ahead and create what a custom role will be like. We're going to use a YAML file. If you're not familiar with YAML, it's a type of a file. It's a format. Okay. It's like JSON and any other kind of whatever. And if you're not familiar with it, please, it's a human readable data, serialization language. Okay. It's commonly used for configuration files in application where your data is stored or transmitted. Okay, it's a human readable data serialization language. So you can spend some time on that and look at it there, but it's not necessary. All right, so let's go back here. We're gonna do this, and look at what I'm doing over here. I'm simply creating a text file. Call it this YAML. All right. So in case you might, I don't want that to confuse you. If I go to Nano and I just say John.txt, Nano will create a file called John.txt for me. If I exit now and I press ls, now I have, I'll have a file if I save it, right? If I didn't save it, it's gone. But if I come over here and I go back here and I save it, exit here, press ls, now I have a file here called John.txt. I can use Nano to create a file if I want to, but I don't want to, so I'm going to delete John back up again. I just want to show you that Nano, there's nothing special about Nano here. It's just one of those things that you've seen before. All right, let me go back again and just recreate my command. So when I use Nano now, I'm just creating a file called role.bar.yaml. So I'm going to open it, and it's open that for me. And I'm going to copy some files. I'm going to add this custom role definition in this file. And I'll come over here and then paste it here. And simply what I've just done over here is to create a title. And I call this the role editor. And I said how to describe it. And this is, you can put anything you want over here. Okay. Edit access to application version. Stage is in alpha. You can have beta. And then you have production. And then include permissions over here, app engine version create, app engine version delete. Okay, that's what I want this role to be able to do. Okay? I'm customizing it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it by pressing Ctrl O. if you're not familiar how to use Nano, to save a file, I just press Control O, and you can see the information at the bottom here, and I'm going to press Enter, and I've saved it. Now if I exit out of here, now I have a file here called, role.yaml. Very simple. Okay? So now if I want to execute if I want to kind of implement this now, I can go ahead and type this command in my shell environment, and I'm just simply gcloud im role create. Now that's the active word. I want to create the role, inside this project, and I use variable here that is going to be this current project, and I said the file where the role is defined is inside this place. Now, many of you may be confused when you see this thing. I will actually terminate this one for you. I want you to see what it is I'm trying to do over here. This is really nothing other than the fact that I'm saying, all right, here is where my file is located by tapping the file, and I'm saying role. And because I've created this file is located, if you remember the file earlier on that I created, this file here, that's the file I'm trying to reference here now. I can actually copy it if I like. And I like, so I'm going to do it. So come over here, and I can do that over here. It's very simple. Dash is just saying, hey, here is the file I want you to use. I'm saying gcloud im role. I want to create a role. It's a custom role, and using the editor, I'm saying, hey, the role that I want to create now, I want to create inside this project. Hey, by the way, grab the current project. So over here, and then I do this. Now, this is unnecessary again now, because now, so this is what my command looks like. The backslash earlier on is for continuation. If I don't want to type all command in a single line. So now I have this file, and if I press enter here now, that should just work just fine. And you can see it created a role. And the role that I created is the role I call editor. Create a role called editor inside this project. Here is the configuration, and it's successful. All right. Any question? So what I've just done simply now is to create a role called editor, and I put everything that I want inside that role. See? Remember earlier on when I was typing a command, I asked you guys to go back there again. You can still remember. When I ran this command, I said, show me a list of testable permissions. And what did I do over here? I added 2 permissions that I want for the role of an editor. These are the only 2 permissions that I added. So when I created this custom role called editor now, this editor only have 2 permissions so far. And I have a he tag on this one over here. That's it. Now, I can also create a custom role using flags. And I'll give you an example of how that works. Alright? So this is, and I'm going to try and do this. I'll open up my notepad here because I want you to see something here. I'm going to close this out. I want to type this one over here so you could see it first. Again, as I told you, this is continuation. You don't need that. It allows you to type a long command line, and then on the multiple line, you can see now when I put this one, I can start this over here, and Linux will understand it that it's a single continuous line. Alright, so I don't have to be, scrolling back and forth to see one single line. So this is continuation, this is continuation. So you can see over here, I say, hi, I'm role. I want to create a role called viewer inside my current project, and the title of that is going to be role viewer. Description of that is these are all cosmetics. It's important, it's cosmetics. Alright, and I say, hey, permission that I want to grant, and I say I want to give permission compute.instance get compute.instance list, and I say this alpha stage. So this particular viewer role, they'll be able to get VM, and they'll be able to list it. They'll be able to see it as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that over here. I've explained what that command does for you. Press enter here, and it's going to go ahead and create it. And it does create it using, flags. And what is flag that I use over here? The flag is permission flags. See that? Dash permission, and I use these two flags. And they said, don't worry, I'll go get it. I know what you're trying to do. Now, I can go ahead and list my permission roles now. I'm going to go back up here. So type this. And of course, look at it. And what have I done over here? I've simply created, IAM roles list. Now, how is this different from the command we typed earlier on? Because I know there's a command we typed earlier on over here when I did this. But this is grant table roles. See that? But this is the actual role. That's the difference. The command we typed earlier on was grant table roles. This is just the actual role that I've created, and I will call one, give this one the edits, and the other one we call it, viewer, editor and viewer. And they do not have the traditional automatic viewer, whatever. I could have given this editor just one permission. All right. So this is very, very important that you understand. But if I want to look at the predefined roles, see, there are a lot of predefined roles. All these roles are predefined. When I come to IAM roles, they're all predefined in G-Cloud environment. But when I say, hey, not just predefined roles, but roles for this particular project, I've got two now that I've created. Alright? You can also edit your existing roles. You can edit it. You can take your part of the permission you give to somebody, or you can add more to it. How can I do that? That's very easy. I can come back over here. I'm going to move this thing up to the surface. So G-Cloud role, and I said describe role ID. Now, it's very important now when you're doing something like this that you have to enter what your role ID is. In case you forgot, over here, I have two roles. Now, when I come back over here, now my role ID could be, for example, editor, or it could be a viewer. So I'm going to change this one now to editor. And then press enter. And now you can see. Now, I've just kind of used this one to kind of like more or less return the output of what is this particular one. But what else can I do? I can create a new YAML file with our output value and copy it to it. So I'll do something like this. So I call this one new role, right? And then press enter here. And what I can do, as a matter of fact, is I can put, we talked about bucket earlier on. I'll copy two bucket over here, storage bucket get, storage bucket list. This is the same thing as somebody being able to view your bucket, to read what is there. But again, they don't have much permission to do beyond that, right? So when I do this, I included these two permissions, right? All right. So what I could do then is to save and close the file. Okay. Close and save the file. One of the things that I want to do is I don't want to just do this alone. I want to append this to what I had before. So I'll exit here and show you something real quick. I want to say I want to cancel. I don't want to save. I want to exit. You want to save? No, I don't want to save. I'll go back over here. Let me grab my editor role. Okay, I'm going to copy everything that I have here. So just look at my description here for this. All right, go on the same page, copy. So then I'll come back here, create a new file, call it new, and I'm going to drop this one here. So essentially I copied the content of the old one, and I'm going to append it, and I'm going to add certain other files to it. Let me come back over here. And I'm going to append this to it. This is an editor before, but then I added, storage bucket and so on and so forth to it. And then I'm going to save it. Exit. Now, if I view the content of this new file, of course, you know he's going to have what editor used to have, except that now he can read, storage bucket, because I've added that permission to it. I'll type this one for you. And one of the things I'm going to do here is actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to come back over here because I want to go into a straight file. And this time around, I'm going to target my new file that I just created. This new file here, I'm going to copy it. And here, I'm going to say dash dash, right? Remember what I showed you guys earlier on? That way you could do it. And then I'm going to do this. So now that I have a new file that I have, is the editor that I copied, but I added more roles, which is ability to kind of modify storage. And then I'm going to create another role, and I'm going to copy over here under the role ID here. I'm going to change it with the editor. Editor. And because remember we have the role of editor before, by typing this, what you might have now is editor being overwritten. So now I have editor before used to be able to just do the app engine, but now I added bucket storage to it. Okay. So that's how to update, using, the YAML file method. But if you want to update using the flag, it's relatively also similar to what we've done in the past before. Clear the screen here, type this command. That's very similar to what we did. Remember we created a viewer role earlier on using the flag option. It's got this. But look at what I'm doing over here. I'm saying the viewer, but go ahead, dash, 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 and add permissions, storage bucket, and storage list, bucket list, rather. I kind of like the flag option because it's a lot easier. I don't have to create a text file and all that kind of stuff. They both have the advantage and disadvantages, of course. If I want to disable a role, relatively simple. I just come over here, look at this viewer, and I'm just going to say dash dash stage disable. Press enter, and that role will be disabled. I can also delete a role. Deleting a role is very simple as well. Come over here, and I'm going to say, hey, dash this role, delete for the current project, and it will take out the role. You can see the stage of the role before was disabled, and now it's gone. After the role has been disabled, deleted, the role can be undeleted within 7 days in GCP. Okay? After 7 days, the role enter into a permanent deletion process. The last 30 days. After 37 days, the role is available to be used again. All right? So you can undelete role if you want within 7 days, and say undelete. Now the role is now undeleted. All right? Thank you, guys. I hope this has been very useful. In the following lab, following exercise in the class, you may be asked to create a role, customize role, and so on and so forth. Thank you.